If you have a college-bound sophomore at home, this video is for you. Sophomore year is one of the most overlooked years in high school. Parents tend to pay a lot of attention to freshman year because everything is new. Then they panic during junior year because that feels like the year everything counts. But sophomore year often slips by quietly. And that's exactly why it matters so much, because sophomore year is where patterns start to stick. Freshman year is often a year of adjustment. Students are figuring out the building, the workload, the teachers, the routine, the social shifts, the basic rhythm of high school. But sophomore year is different. By sophomore year, high school is no longer brand new. The excuses start to wear off, and what you begin to see is whether your teen is actually building the habits, judgment, and independence that they're going to need for the rest of high school. So if freshman year is the foundation year, sophomore year is the strengthening year. This is the year to reinforce what is working, catch what is not, and help your teen become more consistent before the pressure of junior year arrives. Because junior year gets a lot harder, and sophomore year is your chance to prepare for that before it hits. And a quick note, if you want a clear plan for all 4 years of high school, I created a free guide called The High School Roadmap Every Parent Needs to Succeed. It gives you a simple year-by-year roadmap of what to focus on freshman year through senior year, so you're not trying to figure it all out as you go. So if you want that, click the link below and download it for free. So if you're parenting a college-bound sophomore, here's what I think you should focus on. First, be aware of the sophomore slump. This is real. The excitement of starting high school is gone. Junior year urgency has not yet kicked in. And for a lot of students, sophomore year can become a year of drifting. They're not in crisis, they're not necessarily failing, but they're also not as intentional as they need to be. This is the year some teens get a little too comfortable. They start assuming that they can pull things together later. They put less energy into school because nothing feels immediately urgent. They tell themselves they have plenty of time. And that mindset can quickly create problems because sophomore year still matters. Grades still matter, courses still matter, habits still matter. What your teen is building now absolutely affects what junior year will look like. So one of the best things that parents can do in sophomore year is not let them become passive. Do not let your teen go through sophomore year. Help them use it and make the most of it. Second, this is the year to focus on consistency, not intensity, consistency. A lot of college-bound students are capable of doing well when the pressure is on. They can rally before finals. They can work hard when a big project is due. They can recover when things start to slide. But sophomore year is where I would look more closely at what happens week after week. Are they staying on top of work regularly? Are they checking grades before there's a problem? Are they planning ahead? Are they studying in a way that is actually effective, or are they still depending on last-minute effort? Are they taking ownership of school, or are you still caring too much for them? Because in sophomore year, the goal is not just to see whether your teen can succeed. It's to see whether they can succeed more steadily. And steady matters. Steady is what keeps junior year from becoming overwhelming. Third, take a close look at academic habits before the stakes get higher. Sophomore year is the perfect time to ask, what is actually working here? Not what looks fine on the surface. What is truly working? Is your teen managing their time well? Do they know how to study for different kinds of classes? Do they start assignments early enough? Do they know when to ask for help? Can they handle challenging week without falling apart? Because what a lot of parents do is wait until junior year to get serious. And by then, the schedule is harder. The pressure is higher. Standardized testing may be entering the picture, and students often have less room for error. Sophomore year gives you a chance to strengthen the system early. And that is a great time to clean up the basics. Better planning, better study habits, better follow-through, better routines, better communication. Nothing dramatic, just stronger. Fourth, pay attention to course trajectory. This is a really important sophomore year conversation. By now, parents should really start looking more carefully at how their teens' classes are building over time. Not in a fearful way, in a thoughtful way. Are they on a path that keeps doors open? Are they progressing appropriately in core subjects? Are they at the right level of challenge for who they are right now? And I really want to say this clearly. The right path is not always the most overloaded path. Sometimes parents hear college-bound, and they think that means every hardest class, every possible acceleration, every available challenge. Not necessarily. The goal is not to create an oppressive-looking schedule that your teen can barely survive. The goal is to build a strong, sustainable high school path. That means appropriate rigor, yes, but it also means enough balance that your teen can do well, stay healthy, and continue to grow. Sophomore year is often when they can start seeing more clearly whether the path your teen is on is a good fit. This is a great time to talk with your teen, and when helpful, the school counselor, about what makes sense going forward. Fifth, help your teen move from participation to purpose. Freshman year is often about trying things. Sophomore year is where some direction can start to emerge. This does not mean that your teen needs to know what they want to major in. Most won't. It does not mean that they need a 5-year life plan. And it does not mean that every activity needs to be strategic. But sophomore year is a good time to start asking, what do you actually enjoy? What are you sticking with? Where are you growing? What matters to you? For college-bound students, I think parents sometimes get too focused on collecting activities instead of helping their teen build commitment. A teen does not need to do everything. They need experiences that help them grow, contribute, and begin shaping their identity. So instead of asking, what else should we add? A better question may be, what feels meaningful enough to keep building? That could be a sport, a club, music, volunteering, a job later on, a leadership path that grows over time. I've seen a lot of students over the years who have found their lifelong passion that turned into careers through a club that they randomly joined, a volunteer experience, or an elective class that they decided to try. You never know what experiences can have a huge impact on your teen's future. Building involvement is important. Sophomore year is a good year to start moving away from random involvement, although you should absolutely still try things you might enjoy, and toward more purposeful involvement and building your passions. Sixth, this is the year to build self-advocacy. Parents of college-bound teens often do a lot with good intentions. They remind, they monitor, they problem solve, they step in quickly when something starts going wrong, and sometimes that's necessary. But sophomore year is a very important year to start asking, who is solving this problem, you or your teen? Because by 10th grade, students should be growing in their ability to communicate with teachers, ask questions, clarify assignments, seek support, and recover from mistakes. Not perfectly, but increasingly. This is where the parent role really begins to shift. You are still involved, you still care deeply, and you still provide support and structure, but you want to start stepping back just enough so that your teen has to step forward. This may mean that your teen sends the email, that your teen talks to the teacher, that your teen asks for extra help, your teen checks the portal, your teen tracks the assignment. You can guide that process, but they need practice doing it because self-advocacy does not suddenly appear in senior year. It is built gradually, one situation at a time. Seventh, watch stress without overreacting to every hard moment. Sophomore year can be deceptive. Some students look fine on the outside but are feeling more pressure than parents realize. The classes may be getting harder, social expectations may be changing, comparison starts to grow. Students become more aware of who seems ahead, who's taking what classes, who's involved in what, who looks successful, and for some teens, it starts to affect confidence. So this is a good year to pay attention, not just to performance, but to how your teen is doing emotionally. Are they constantly overwhelmed? Are they shutting down? Are they becoming unusually irritable? Are they losing motivation? Are they putting enormous pressure on themselves? Are they starting to believe that every grade defines them? Those are important signals. Parents of college-bound teens sometimes think the answer is always more pushing. Sometimes the answer is actually more support, better perspective, and a better balance. You want a teen who is growing, not a teen who is quietly unraveling. Eighth, begin talking about the future without making everything about the future. This is a balance sophomore year parents need. You do not need to turn every dinner conversation into a college conversation. Please do not do that. But sophomore year is a good time to gently increase awareness. You can begin talking about interests, possible future directions, high school choices that matter, how effort affects options later. Not with panic, not with pressure, just with clarity. The goal is to help your teens start connecting the dots, to see that school is not just a series of assignments. It's preparation, it's practice. It's a time to build habits and maturity that will help them later. Sophomore year is a great year for that message because it lands better now than it does freshman year, and is less overwhelming now than it can feel junior year. And finally, remember this, Sophomore year is the year where good students become more independent students. This is a real shift. Not perfect students, not finished students, not students who have it all figured out, independent students. Students who are starting to manage themselves more consistently. Students who are beginning to understand their strengths and weak spots. Students who can handle challenge with less external pushing. Students who are slowly becoming more responsible in their own path. This is what I want for a college-bound sophomore. Not just nice grades, not just a busy schedule, not just a polished image. I would want a teenager who is becoming more steady, more self-aware, more capable, and more able to carry the weight of high school without needing a parent to do all the lifting. Because that is what sets them up for junior year, and that is what eventually sets them up for college. So if you're parenting a sophomore, do not let this year drift by. Use it wisely. Strengthen the habits, increase the ownership, watch the balance, build the maturity, help your teen become more consistent now before the stakes rise again. Sophomore year may not get as much attention, but it is one of the most important bridge years in high school, and parents who understand that can make a very big difference. And if this video helped, make sure you download my free guide, The High School Roadmap Every Parent Needs to Succeed. It's linked below. And it gives a simple year-by-year roadmap for what to focus on through all 4 years of high school. And this is actually the second video in a series of 4 videos on what parents need to know each year of high school. So if this video was helpful, I'd really encourage you to watch the next one on how to get the most out of junior year, which is where the pressure really starts to rise and where parents need to support their teens more carefully and more strategically. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.